Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. You know, I've always said that becoming a professional in business is much like playing sports. You have your high school players, you got the college level players, and then you got the pros. And one thing you'll see about people in the pros is they have one defining thing in common, in that they don't let pain or discomfort stop them from becoming successful. And you know, in our journey to becoming successful, whether it be in business or in life, we're going to experience times where we get knocked down. We're going to experience severe pain and discomfort. We're going to be discouraged. And the unfortunate thing is, many people give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Well, tonight on our show, we're going to talk to somebody that didn't give up and went on to have an amazing career. We're going to talk to restaurateur extraordinaire and actually Miami Dolphins legend, Bob Baumhauer, is on the show. Alabama Hall of Famer. We're also going to have our dear friend, real estate guru, Amy Norris, is going to stop by, tell us what's happening. And also, Miss Margot Bush will be co-hosting with us. Stay tuned. We have an amazing show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Come experience Nolan's. Savor award-winning steaks, Greek-style cuisine, fresh local seafood, and an extensive choice of wines. Whether you'd like to reserve the large private dining room, enjoy a meal on an outdoor deck, or rock the night away in our lounge, Nolan's, now celebrating 25 years of exceeding your expectations for casual fine dining, live entertainment, and dancing nightly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm here with the lovely Margot Bush. Margot, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that you decided to come back, co-host with us.
Thank you.
And we saw each other a few days ago, as a matter of fact. There was a business seminar kind of in our backyard, and it was a great time because a lot of friends I hadn't seen for a few years happened to be coming through town.
Yeah, I think it's been, gosh, probably 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 years since we've seen Brian Tracy and Bob Harrison and Les Brown, of course. I think Les Brown, he just laughs and makes everybody happy.
Cracks up.
And so I love him because, well, you know my story a little bit, because there was something that Les Brown wrote in his book that really just resonated with me after Bill passed away. Was he said, sometimes you've got to lay down your burden in order to follow your dream. And it was a time in my life where I really had to make some decisions about, you know, where I was supposed to go. Because I was married when I was 19, and I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And I met you, and I met Les Brown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, he's an amazing guy, and I didn't know Bob Harrison much. I know he's kind of like a Dave Ramsey.
Now, I know him real well, because,
but I know you guys.
Yeah, because he actually was on the board of a college that my husband taught in.
We have Amy Norris, real estate guru, is going to tell us what's kind of going on in the market for buyers and sellers. So let's bring her out now, Miss Amy Norris. Great to see you again, Amy. How are you?
Good. I'm great. How about you?
I am doing super fantastic. That's what we used to say back in the day in business. But yeah, we were always told, like, no matter what kind of a day you're having, you're either doing super fantastic, or if it's a really terrible day, you're doing unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Either way, it sounds very positive. But now I know you're out there. You're a real mover and shaker. You are out there with your pulse on what's happening in real estate. And I know that you're not only #1 in the state of Alabama, but #1 for northern Georgia, northern Florida. You are really out there. You know what's happening. What's going on in the real estate market? Let's say for obviously it's been a buyer's market, but what's happening with buyers?
It has actually. It's very interesting because inventory is really starting to shrink. There are still some foreclosures and short sales out there, but the inventory is drying up. So if you're a buyer on the fence, now is the time to get off, especially with the rates being so low.
Right.
It's really time to take advantage, and if you want to buy, buy. Also, too, a lot of people have thought about, well, is it worth building? And, you know, for a long time, prices were so low that, like, nobody was building.
Right.
And lots were vacant, and they would sit on the market forever. But now we're seeing people actually buying lots. Stuff is getting snapped up. And so if you don't know, and if you've ever been interested in building, the normal tract builders like your Adams and your D.R. Hortons and Parasol Homes, Benchmarks, those type of construction companies, they're usually selling at about $88 a square foot. Of course, that's subject to change, and it depends on location and all that. Right. But $88 a square foot. And then if you have a custom home builder, let's say you want to build a nice beach house for investment, it typically can cost anywhere from $90 to $130 a square foot.
Now, I'm sure for sellers, it's good news.
It is, yeah, because if they ever wanted to upgrade, or, you know, if they're wondering, like, oh, is my property ever going to sell? Yes, it is. You know, if you have a good agent and it's priced in line with the market, it will sell.
Yeah, things are moving.
Yes.
Well, speaking of good agents, how can people get a hold of you, Amy, for more information, or if they want to?
Yep, it's amynorristeam.com or amysellsthebeach.com.
Amy Sells the Beach. Thank you so much for coming by, Amy. And we'll be right back with Bob Baumhauer. Don't go anywhere.
Real estate today offers incredible opportunities, low prices, and extremely low interest rates. Hi, I'm Amy Norris from Amy Sells the Beach. Right now, there are opportunities in all areas. Our team can help you put your money to work finding your dream or investment property. And if you're looking to sell, no one can give you better exposure to buyers and make your property stand out. Experience matters when looking for opportunity. I'm Amy Norris. See why we're #1 at amysellsthebeach.com.
When visiting Gulf Shores, Alabama, make sure to visit the Gulf Coast Zoo, home of the little zoo that could from Animal Planet. Get up close in our petting zoo. Enjoy our unique animal encounters. More than 300 monkeys, bears, reptiles, big cats, parrots, and more call it Gulf Coast home. Come on, go wild at the Alabama Gulf Coast Zoo.
Thank you. Our guest tonight is not only a football legend, but very successful entrepreneur in the restaurant business. Please give me a big hand to welcome Mr. Bob Baumhauer.
Hello, Miss Margot. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Hello, Dan.
How are you? Great to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
I'll tell you, shaking your hand is like a big grizzly bear.
Yeah.
You're a big man, and I don't have to look up often, but man alive. Now, obviously, Bob, many people know you as a legend with the Miami Dolphins. The time that you played with the Dolphins was, I mean, really legendary. But before that, you were actually two-time All-American in college. Tell us a little bit about what it was like playing for Coach Bear Bryant at that time.
Well, for me, like a lot of guys, it was a life-changing experience. I'm actually a rehabilitated quitter.
Yeah.
When I went to Alabama, I had moved to Alabama from Florida as a senior in high school. Did not have any kind of a drive to be a great football player or anything like that, but was able to get a scholarship with Alabama. And through my relationship with Coach Bryant, he kind of, what I call, turned the light on for me. And I actually quit at the beginning of my sophomore year because I had all the answers and everybody else was a bunch of dummies. Coach Bryant kind of woke me up. He cared enough about me to get me in a meeting afterwards. And after that meeting, I had a completely different view on everything, and went on to have a very, very rewarding career at Alabama, and then obviously went to Miami and played a long time in the pros.
Yeah, we had Dr. Galen McCullough on the show, and he had also played with Coach Bear Bryant. He had said that, you know, even throughout his career now as being a doctor, many of the lessons he learned on the field stuck with him. Really, they were life lessons.
Right. Yeah, and Coach Bryant was about that first. He was about teaching principles of life, and, you know, talked about family and God and being the best that you could be, taking care of mom and dad, taking care of your teammates, and it always was, back then anyway, it didn't always resonate with us, but as
Sure.
you got older and
Some of those sink in.
some of those things started to sink in, I still see it as a gift being able to have the relationship I have with Coach Bryant.
Sure. Well, and I know that you had this amazing career with Alabama, as we mentioned, two-time All-American, and also inducted in the Alabama Hall of Fame.
Right.
And but then you get drafted by the Miami Dolphins. And what was that like for you in life? I mean, tell us about when you got the news.
Yeah, it was amazing for me because I had moved to Alabama from North Palm Beach, Florida. And I had watched the Dolphins go undefeated in high school when I was in high school. So I'd become a big Dolphin fan.
Right.
And then I get drafted by Miami. And I got that phone call, and I was going back to Florida, and I was one happy camper.
I bet.
Being able to go from probably the greatest coach ever coached college football to be able to go to, at the time, everybody, talked about Coach Shula as the greatest football coach in the pros, and still to this day, coached the only undefeated team in the history of professional football.
Well, even in the business world, Shula is just so many entrepreneurs learned by some of his coaching messages because he was so you had the privilege of just really being molded by two of the greatest ever.
I did, and Coach Shula wrote a book called The Winning Edge, and a lot of the things in that book were very similar to the things that Coach Bryant taught. Yeah. And a lot of folks talk about that success leaves footsteps. It's just a question of whether or not you want to follow in those footsteps. It's all about the choices that we make. And a lot of folks will bring that up to me and said, you were one lucky guy to play for two great coaches like that.
Well, and I read too that, as you were growing with these coaches, you were also known as a bit of a wild man on the field.
Yeah.
Lots of stories.
Yeah.
But tell us, at least share one story with us. I'm sure you have many.
I do. I don't know if I can tell them on the
show.
Well,
we're late night, so it's fine.
The thing you were talking about early on, I wrestled a bear one time, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Was it for charity? Because I read it was like a 450-pound bear. And they
was
said,
a big bear.
"You're going to wrestle this bear," and he's like, "Oh."
Was it a real bear?
It was a real bear.
Yeah.
It was a real bear.
Where did a real bear happen to come by you?
It was in a boat show in Palm Beach, Florida. My dad put me up to it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that it just seemed like the right thing to do at the time. And the funny thing about it is that bear knew how to wrestle. And I was the seventh guy. I was the last guy to wrestle the bear. A bunch of us were, football players and the like. He whooped every one of us. Right?
I can imagine that scene with me would have been something like after a few beers with my father, my dad said, "I dare you to." Yeah. I think I could take that bear, but I would have wound up dead and never got out of the situation.
Yeah, I heard you talking about Zig Ziglar earlier. Yeah. My dad knew Zig pretty well.
Oh, is that right?
My dad was in the vacuum cleaner sales business, so Zig Ziglar was big in
direct sales.
big
Yes, absolutely.
time, and he was always the kind of guy who was about accepting challenges. So it was all about a challenge there.
Wow. Well, I know that you were an all-pro nose tackle, probably the most brutal physical position that you possibly could play. What was that like being in the trenches at that time on Miami?
When I went to Miami, I'd never played nose before. And at Alabama, I was a defensive end, and the timing, I guess, the situation that Miami was in, they were in a rebuilding year, my rookie year. And a lot of young players had been signed and drafted, and they put me in nose. Did not want to be in nose. Most football players don't grow up dreaming about being a nose guard. They dream about being a quarterback. The coach, my position coach, talked to me about the opportunity that I had there. He said, "You can be a good defensive end. You can be a great nose guard. You got to make the choice." And I didn't want to play in the middle, but I did. And within probably 3 or 4 weeks, I was able to grow to love the position.
Wow.
Love the challenge, and you're exactly right. Nose guard, playing a true three-man line is a very physically and mentally challenging challenge in that position because of the sometimes sacrifices that you're asked to make at that position.
Yeah.
But it was something I grew to enjoy. I bought in. You know, it was all about making our defense what it could be,
Right.
and we grew to be the Killer Bees, number one defense in the NFL for a couple of years. Went to a couple Super Bowls, so it all worked out pretty good.
Well, I know too that a couple of years ago I worked with Grant Wistrom from the Rams, and he told me, he says, and he wasn't even nose, but he said, you know, I used to hit guys that were 100 pounds bigger than me, and he's a big guy.
I tell you though, when you're out on the field, you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You know, you're so into the game, you're so focused,
Sure.
You're so about the challenge or the mission that you've got. You feel it later.
Yeah, I wake up in the morning.
But a lot of times you see those hits in a football game and you're not feeling it. You get up and you'll watch them today. I'm, you know, being older, I'll watch and it's almost like that was another life, another lifetime, and you wonder how those young guys get up.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to take a quick break. I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now. Obviously, you've kind of transitioned from football to a very successful entrepreneur. But we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Bob Baumhauer. Stick with us.
Come experience Nolan's. Savor award-winning steaks, Greek-style cuisine, fresh local seafood, and an extensive choice of wines. Whether you'd like to reserve the large private dining room, enjoy a meal on an outdoor deck, or rock the night away in our lounge, Nolan's, now celebrating 25 years of exceeding your expectations for casual fine dining, live entertainment, and dancing nightly.
Real estate today offers incredible opportunities, low prices, and extremely low interest rates. Hi, I'm Amy Norris from Amy Sells the Beach. Right now, there are opportunities in all areas. Our team can help you put your money to work finding your dream or investment property. And if you're looking to sell, no one can give you better exposure to buyers and make your property stand out. Experience matters when looking for opportunity. I'm Amy Norris. See why we're #1 at amysellsthebeach.com.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm here with the famous, maybe infamous, Bob Baumhauer. Bob, we were talking about, you know, obviously when you went to Miami, it was an amazing year. And I know that we were talking a little backstage. You said that there wasn't a big transition for you going into the pros. Actually, your rookie year was like just an amazing dream like year.
It was. I went through a fairly quick transition in training camp. Like we were talking about earlier, I was playing nose guard, and the offensive line for the Dolphins was the best in the NFL at the time, by far.
Yeah.
And I really didn't realize that in training camp, and there were times in training camp where I was starting to feel a little discouraged. You know, I was getting pushed around like kind of like a pinball.
That seems hard to believe, but
yeah, and I had a hard time dealing with it. And as training camp progressed and we started to get into preseason games, I started to do a little better, and then all of a sudden I started seeing, okay, wait a minute, these guys I'm practicing against are a whole lot better than the guys I'm playing against.
Sure.
And it turned out
what a benefit,
they were the best there was. Hall of Fame guys.
Yeah, right.
Jim Langer, Larry Little, Bob Kuchenberg, some of the best ever play the game. And so by the time we get into regular season, I'm having a good time.
You're ready to go.
I'm having a good time in my rookie year. One of my best buddies, A.J. Dewey, was a rookie as well from LSU. And we just had a phenomenal year. We went 10-4 that year. Dolphins had gone 6-8 actually the year prior. Had 5 rookies starting on defense. And it was just one of those things that I feel very fortunate to have been able to experience.
Not only the talent, but right time, right place.
Right time,
everything.
right people.
Right.
Good people. Miami had some the coaches were great. My position coach, who I had for almost my entire career, was like a dad. You know, tough dad.
Sure.
But Coach Carey, But that rookie year set me on my way to have what I would consider, almost like a dream, being able
Sure.
to be with the Dolphins for all those years.
Well, let me ask you too, we read about so many players that get these big contracts, they get into professional sports, but they really aren't grounded, or they have this career, playing at that level. Obviously there's a toll physically,
Right.
and they're not prepared after the game.
Right.
And you read about these fortunes lost, and they don't really invest. And I know obviously you have a chain of restaurants that just fantastic. I've eaten at a couple of them actually. But what was playing at that time in the game? What were some of the lessons you learned that you could take that kind of prepared you for becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing is to have a vision for yourself.
Yeah.
To be able to get to a destination, you've kind of got to have a map. You got to
right.
know where you're going. So you got to have some kind of a vision. And after that, you got to figure out how you're going to get there. And when I first got into the hospitality business, I was in it for all the wrong reasons and didn't really know where I was going. But as after I retired, I started learning. I remember I told somebody that told me I didn't know anything about the restaurant business. I said, "You're right, but it's not rocket science. I'll learn it."
Yeah.
And so, today I still learn a lot
Sure.
about the business. My kids teach me a lot. I got 4 under 20, and I get coached all the time at home right now.
I bet. Yeah. Well, the world's
what I
changing
need
so
to be
much
doing.
too.
But
Yes.
you got to have that vision, then you got to have the discipline, and like talking about sports, you've got to have the mental toughness to fight through the battles that sometimes make you feel like quitting.
Yeah. You're going to have losses. You're going to have defeats.
Some setbacks, and things aren't always going to go your way, and you just got to have faith that if you keep pushing one step at a time, 1 foot at a time, that you'll get through it.
Now, originally, I know you were invited into the restaurant. You kind of had your first venture. You were
Joe Willie Namath, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Namath,
And,
Willie.
Joe was an Alabama guy, and Joe and a guy named Richard Todd, who actually had a place down here in Orange
Yeah.
Beach, and he was my best buddy at the time. We all got into the business after Joe retired in Fort Lauderdale, and then I got into the wing business through the invitation of a teammate of mine to go have lunch at a place called Wings and Things, where they serve chicken wings, and I thought he was crazy. You want me to go someplace and eat chicken wings for lunch?
Right.
I had no idea, that they were buffalo wings. And I
Right.
went and I was introduced to buffalo wings, and that really got me hooked. And, I've been trying to get it down ever since.
Now, I know that, you've certainly got it down. I know you opened your first restaurant in Tuscaloosa, and now, did you say you have 12?
We have 12 and right
one.
now, and we're getting ready to open another one.
13.
13 later on this year.
And what do you think that, for our viewers out there that are, looking at maybe chasing their dream, maybe they've been laid off or things have changed for them, they say, I've had this idea I want to pursue, or let's say maybe they're looking at getting the restaurant business. What's one piece of advice that you could give to them that you've
Well, the vision, first of all, know where you want to go. You got to have some kind of an idea where you want to go, and then you got to figure out how to get there. And I'm a student of the game, whether it's playing the game of football or whether it's the restaurant business. You've got to be able to go somewhere and get answers. So it's going to take research, it's going to take hard work, and then preparation. And an old saying back in the day, from a football point of view, is failure to prepare is preparation for failure.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I know obviously probably having a great team around you too, because the restaurant business we hear is always one of the toughest, but you've certainly mastered it. And I wanted to ask too, Bob, that I know that I've been to a couple of your restaurants, and one thing I like right out of the gate is that I do love some good buffalo wings. But you have a very extensive menu, and it's just a great place. Obviously, if you want to go have a couple of drinks, you can go sit at the bar.
Right.
But I have a 5-year-old, and it's just a real family atmosphere. You can go bring the whole family, watch the game. It's very comfortable.
Right. Our restaurants are in a niche called casual dining.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we started right from the get-go was making sure that we were family friendly.
Yeah.
Kind of that McDonald's approach,
Yep.
If the kids want to go there, mom and dad are going to follow. So we have a balanced approach like that. And You know, we do little things for the kids, like we'll have some Fruit Loops ready for them
Sure.
when they first sit down and stuff. So it's one of those things that prepares you for the future. If you got the
Right.
kids hooked,
They're going to
get them when they're older too. Yeah.
Well, I know, and real quick, I wanted to touch too. There's a pretty big event coming up that's actually kind of world famous now. The Gumbo Cook-Off
Yeah.
is coming up. Tell us briefly a little bit about the event coming up.
Yeah, April 11th at the wharf up the road here. We're going to be doing something called the LA Gumbo Festival.
LA Gumbo
And
Festival.
a good buddy of mine named Chef John Foles is going to come over, and the LA is going to be standing for Louisiana and Lower Alabama. And, you know, like we were talking earlier, there's a lot of shared history
Sure.
from here all the way over to Louisiana, especially when it comes to gumbo. And we're going to be celebrating the dish of gumbo. We're going to have a cook-off. We're going to cook the largest pot of gumbo ever.
Which you did, I
we
guess,
did, yeah.
year and a half or so. It was Guinness was down here.
Yeah, it was at the LSU-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, 3,710 pounds of gumbo. And that's a
Wow.
lot of gumbo. And then we're going to have arts, craft, music, and then we're going to have a cook-off. We're going to have a Louisiana, Alabama cook-off and have some fun.
And the real top chefs are coming here. It's a real serious thing.
Chef Foles will be here. Rick Tremano from Chicago, who is a partner with Chef Foles in Restaurant Revolution, which they just opened in New Orleans.
And I know they have a PBS show.
Chef Foles has a PBS show called Taste of Louisiana.
Yeah.
And nobody knows French Creole cuisine better than Chef Foles, so it should be a lot of fun.
And if somebody wanted to get more information?
Gumboforlife.com. I believe that site it's either up or it'll be up in a couple days. Gumboforlife.com.
Gumboforlife.com, or you can go to our website, Tuesdays with Dan, and when it's up, we'll post a link to it. And again, thank you so much for coming by, Bob.
Thanks
Bob
for having me.
Baumhauer, everybody. I want to also thank Amy Norris for stopping by, also co-host Margot Bush. That's our show. We're out of time, but don't forget to get involved in your local community and be forgiving of others. Good night, everybody.